Opposition disrupts hospital opening. Slow start to campaign period. And Lay City speaks on quiet campaign mood.
This is National MTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thank you for joining me for Tuesday's news. The opposition has disrupted the opening of the POPONDETTA General Hospital's new operating theatre. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill was expected to open the facility. However, he was a no-show after opposition leader Don Pollier and Northern Governor Gary Jufa hijacked the program and turned it into a political rally.
Thousands gathered at the field opposite the hospital to receive the Prime Minister. However, before his arrival, opposition leader Don Pollier and Northern Governor Gary Jufa made a surprise appearance. Mr. Jufa announced disappointment in not being informed about the event and the Prime Minister's visit. He said it was disrespectful to him as the governor of the province.
I was very upset and displeased because they disrespected me and you. You cannot do that in our province. You must respect the head of the province. By doing that, you are respecting my people. If you're going to open projects and whatnot, you have the courtesy to let me know. For me, I don't like ceremonies. These are things we are supposed to do anyway. So when we have built something, just open it and give it to the people.
Governor Jufa went on to slam the government for what he claimed were unresolved issues like the so-called unpaid 30 million kina DSIP funds, 60 million kina Kikiri road ceiling, 500 million kina outstanding grants and funds, 10 million kina development fund promised in 2013, salaries for 271 teachers, and outstanding 3 million kina in Oro disaster relief funds, among others. Members of the public, including children, were seen holding placards highlighting these issues. Mr. Pollier said his arrival was at the invitation of Governor Jufa, and he joined his colleague in condemning the Prime Minister and the government of the day for using projects like the health facility for political gain.
We must not use those projects for our political advantage or expediency. A service that the leader gives to the people must be a service given humbly, even without being recognized and being signified.
Eventually, the gathering was informed that the Prime Minister had cancelled his visit. Acting Chief Executive Officer of the POPONDETTA General Hospital, Dr. Petrus Opum, was placed in a situation where he had to address the public and explain the hospital's stance, calling for understanding from the public.
Me no like him ask him plan the question. Me talk finish. Me stop na melo one plus situation. Me no have no control him. Nah, me no like make him this plus situation come up for say one blah time long election now sem. Me like talk clear lo you plan kita. I'll see him long helping people.
A resident doctor explained that the theatre has the most up-to-date equipment in the country to perform vital endoscopic surgery. Minister for Health Michael Malabag condemned the incident, saying the theatre is a vital healthcare facility for the people of Oro and the nation and must not be politicized. He said it was unfortunate that uninvited politicians attempted to hijack the event and create a security problem. The opening has now been deferred for a second time until after the national elections. Minister Malabag said the hospital will be fully functional as of today for members of the public to use the facilities and services. In an interview back in Port Moresby, member for Ijivitari, David Arore, said the government and PNC did not react to the whole spectacle in POPONDETTA as a show of maturity in leadership.
Whether he sees it as a point scoring or not point scoring, we can't help it because the POPONDETTA Hospital Board set this date, so that is the reason why the official opening was scheduled for this day. And I hope he did score points today, political points, because as far as I'm concerned, he just lost it today.
Deli Waigeno, National, MTV News.
Morebe's provincial returning officer has come out to clarify the confusion over the alleged endorsement of dual candidates by at least two parties in Morbe province. Simon Soheke said each political party is allowed to endorse and nominate only one candidate per seat according to the law. Soheke's response came after several independent candidates claimed they had been endorsed by party executives.
Posters like these that have gotten supporters up in arms. For Pangu and the Human Rights Party, there are candidates claiming party endorsements.
It's a credible piece of document.
But party executives say the final list is what the Electoral Commission has. Today, the provincial returning officer, Simon Soheke, came out to state clearly that the list is what was supplied and endorsed by the parties.
Endorsement of candidates is pretty clear. It states that all party must endorse one black candidate as all pay electorate.
During the nomination period, the Electoral Commission advised candidates not supported by the parties to nominate as independent candidates.
We have advised them, now one club I call some party endorsed, and another club I call some independent, which all in principle all even agree. Now we practice nomination belong all.
And even with the nominations over, it hasn't stopped the vocal group from challenging the decision, claiming legitimacy over the matter.
Council must make it clear.
The Electoral Commission, meanwhile, has maintained it will not be drawn into internal administrative matters of parties as it prepares for the elections. Scott Waide, National MTV News, Ley.
The election mood in Ley is different this year, unlike previous elections. Ley residents today gave their views on why this campaign period has been relatively quiet.
A resident of Enga from Kandep electorate, Tole Yangu, who is currently in Ley for personal businesses, said the feeling in Ley is different from that in Kandep.
Mr. Blena, me looking at Nambi site me right lig, but islands me up and down lig now.
This year's election in Ley has been relatively quiet since issue of writs last month. The election excitement only escalated during the nominations of candidates last week. Candidates nominated peacefully without any problems.
Nomination was quiet for Ley in general. From other districts, I'm receiving reports as well that a nomination is going quietly.
Ley resident Borathi Magawa, who has lived in the city for more than 20 years, said most campaign gatherings are now being held in the campaign houses and not in public.
Campaign blow le mol walk go through lo houseman blow, so iga to leaders way only walk lo go out na talk lo man.
Women and children find it safe when going to school, work and when attending to daily businesses in town.
This election is like more safe than the previous one. This election is more ideal.
What is expected to happen in the next few weeks before returning of writs is still unknown. But police in Morbe have been put on high alert to handle any trouble. Julie Badui Owa, National MTV News, Ley.
The campaigning period for the 2017 National General Election has commenced. It will run for 2 months. In Port Moresby, supporters of candidates have started political rallies to inform their supporters of their policies and intentions to contest the National General Elections.
In Port Moresby, such rallies are conducted at sporting venues. Campaigning is the time candidates carry out awareness on their reasons for standing for the elections. According to the Electoral Commission, campaigns can be conducted into the night and in the early hours of the morning. Meanwhile, Port Moresby police are warning supporters of candidates to not overload open back vehicles or the drivers will be criminally prosecuted. Traffic police raised this concern after supporters of candidates contesting the 2017 national elections were cited overloading vehicles. Takla Gunga, National MTV News.
Manus Police Commander, Senior Inspector David Yapu, says he is pleased with the general conduct of candidates campaigning for the Manus regional and open seats. Senior Inspector Yapu says the province has been quiet and peaceful since the close of nomination. Manus has recorded 34 candidates contesting the open seat and 26 candidates racing for the governor's seat. Meanwhile, 116 police officers will be involved in the election security operation. The PPC has warned people in Manus to respect the law and the democratic rights of other individuals. Yapu is confident Manus Police will deliver a safe and secure election. National MTV News continues with the day's other stories after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Madang province is a maritime province that had its share of sea piracy incidents along their coastal waters. Police in the province are now looking at relocating the water police base. Provincial Police Commander Superintendent Jacob Zingura says the 6-man team has already been identified and he is yet to appoint an officer in charge of the unit. Martha Louise with this report.
Provincial Police Commander Superintendent Jacob Zingura says in the last 12 months there have been at least 2 incidents of sea piracy cases reported to police. However, Zingura says most criminals use boats to get away from police after robbing business houses in town. Police are now working with stakeholders to relocate the water police base from the town area to Vidar on the north coast of Madang.
For the fact that most of the escapes by criminals, after they commit robberies in town, they escape through that direction down to CR.
6 officers and a commander will be operating from the water police base once established. Police are also looking at stationing a boat in the town vicinity to patrol the waters.
By establishing the water police unit out there, it will be easier for our men to patrol the waters towards town and also through to the north coast to Kubukam and the waters of the mainland and the Karkar Island.
Madang police are now planning to increase the number of officers from 6 to 10. The relocation will now focus on countering sea piracy and prevent criminals from escaping by sea after committing robberies. Mata Luis, National MTV News, Madang.
Many members of PNG's National Council of Women are unhappy with the manner in which their executives were elected at the PNG NWC convention yesterday. They have condemned their re-elected interim president Teresa Jaitong, claiming she had hijacked the legal process to cover her tracks in a case of fund mismanagement.
Yesterday, 5 Provincial Council of Women presidents were kicked out of the 16th PNG NCW convention.
Because I asked and we demand to have a report table, financial report table to the convention before a new executive comes in.
Conveniently, when the existing interim executive committee was supposed to be dissolved and replaced by election. Under the National Council of Women Act 2013, all heads of council from the local to national level are required to participate in the election process.
10 provinces as they sit down longen, that's not a quorum. I mean no quorum. Now by me talk all them, this executives as they all vote him longen, the convention as they all hold him longen, it's illegal. Me plan no look sabe. The executives all mark him longen is null and void.
Their exclusion was met by anger and frustration from other presidents who claimed the election process was hijacked. The convention, they claim, had been adjourned continuously under the leadership of interim executive president Teresa Jaitong since December 2014.
And it clearly shows that the process was hijacked to protect the interest of the outgoing interim executive of Miss Teresa Jaitong, who have been illegally occupying this office since 5th of December 2014, according to the Act.
The 5 presidents from West Sepik, Enga, Manus, Hela and NCDC have in the past been vocal over suspicion on mismanagement of funds. The women have resolved to seek legal advice in pursuing a court injunction against the Teresa-led Interim Executive Committee. In the meantime, they have revealed plans to stage a protest without giving specific details of the event and called on PNG NCW donors to withhold any sponsorship until the existing Interim Executive Committee is dissolved and held accountable. Melissa Gaviro, National MTV News.
Over 100 people gathered at the Sir John Guy's Indoor Complex to celebrate the inaugural World Tuna Day. On December 8, 2016, the United Nations General Assembly voted to celebrate World Tuna Day on May 2nd. PNG is among the rest of the world observing this day to spread the importance of protecting and conserving tuna species. This year's theme is Talk Tuna, Fish Tuna, Eat Tuna, a tunability for manageability and sustainability. Collectively called the chicken of the sea, tuna is an important source of revenue for Pacific countries. The celebrations led by the National Fisheries Authority had display booths to show the public the work of tuna-related work in the country. Other participants included fishing companies such as RD Tuna Canners who set up booths. Papua New Guinea's reputation as a country built on the extractive resource sector has been on the increase in recent years. There are, however, issues within the sector that need drastic improvement. One of these areas is the management of revenue derived from the extractive resource industries. The government of Japan, through its International Development Agency, will soon be commencing a technical program to address this issue over the next 3 years.
The extractive industry in Papua New Guinea has seen significant developments in recent years, with the country now a full candidate for full membership of the Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative. The quality of its annual PNG EITI report has to be of a high standard. A key part of these reports involves the management of revenue received from mining, oil and gas. The Department of Petroleum and Energy has been in the spotlight recently. Although this department is responsible for an extremely important revenue source, its own recording systems leave a lot to be desired. These have been highlighted in both PNG's country reports to date.
Some are systems and process, some legislative amendments need to be made, some are reform-oriented that will take a bit more time or a longer time period to address those issues. For example, capacity building at DPE with the challenges that we have.
But with a new acting secretary, there are hopes that these problems can start to be rectified.
When you look at this project, the first thing that comes to your mind is revenue. The timing is just right, especially when the money in the petroleum sector are expanding. Apart from the PNG LNG project, we have the Papua LNG project lined up. Then we have other gas fields which are most likely to come on stream in the next 5 to 7 years.
The Japanese government, through the Japan International Cooperation Agency, will now work together with PNG EITI to build the capacities of core government agencies responsible for managing revenue coming into the country through the extractive resource sector.
We are very happy to partner with the EITI National Secretariat to achieve this objective by building the capacity of core government agencies responsible for managing revenue resources from the extractive industry, particularly the Department of Petroleum and Energy.
The MOU to effect this was signed today by representatives of key government agencies. The technical cooperation project will begin after the 2017 national general elections and will be for a period of 3 years. This support towards PNG EITI is the first for JICA for this initiative, which PNG is the first candidate country to benefit from.
The technical cooperation project on improving resource-related revenue management is an important part of JICA's overall support for economic development in Papua New Guinea. This project is also in line with the broader pillar for strengthening the foundation of economic growth.
Merabatulo, National EMTV News.
And now looking at our finance news, the kina closed unchanged at $0.3145 US in the interbank markets. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.307 US, $0.4052 Australian dollars, $0.2788 euro, and 34.07 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee and copper closed higher while cocoa closed the day lower. Copper closed higher while palm oil and crude oil closed the day lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 27.05 points lower, the ASX closed at 16.82 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 14.93 points lower. Stories making headlines overseas when we return, including a severe turbulence mid-air that resulted in injured passengers. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. Turning overseas, more than a dozen people are recovering in a Bangkok hospital this morning after a terrifying flight from Moscow. Severe turbulence hit before the pilots could warn passengers to put on their seatbelts.
Blood smeared on the ceiling, possessions spilled on the floor. The injured lie in agony in the aisle. The chaotic aftermath of severe turbulence on a Russian Aeroflot flight from Moscow to Bangkok. 40 minutes before landing, the Boeing 777 suddenly began to shake violently, slightly jolting twice, then dramatically a further 3 times. Passengers hit the roof before being flung back down. 27 were injured, with broken hands, legs and ribs, cuts, bruises and head injuries. 15, including a child, were admitted to hospitals in Bangkok. 3 people needed surgery. The airline says the plane hit a patch of so-called clear sky turbulence when a jet stream and another weather front combine. It's impossible to detect either by the naked eye or flight radar, giving crew no time to advise passengers to fasten their seatbelts. An average of 750 cases of clear air turbulence are recorded in civil aviation each year.
In the United Kingdom, social media companies are being accused of a disgraceful effort to tackle terrorist propaganda and hate speech online. The government says companies are putting more effort into protecting their profits than keeping people safe.
Propaganda videos from extremists.
Facing down a new coming storm.
Hate speech. Sexualized images of children. All should be removed much more rapidly from social media sites, according to today's report. The Home Affairs Committee took evidence from the tech giants Facebook, Twitter and Google, which owns YouTube. They have billions of users around the world.
The report also suggests some tough sanctions, imposing multi-million-pound fines on companies failing to remove unacceptable posts fast enough and forcing them to pay for police investigations into suspect online material. But some charities want MPs to go further.
But is it really possible for the companies to pick out extremist and abusive material amid the millions of posts being put up on social media sites every day?
There is certainly more that companies can do, and they themselves have acknowledged that. They could be improving takedown times, partnering with each other to flag content across platforms, but we should also be careful. The way that systems work, the way that platforms work, is that they have a limited liability for the content that is on there.
So at the moment, social media companies are still largely reliant on their users reporting what they consider to be illegal material. And for the MPs who wrote today's report, that is not acceptable. They're now expecting the tech giants to do much more.
U.S. President Donald Trump says he'll be honored to meet North Korean leader Kim Jong-un under the right circumstances. His comment has left the White House scrambling to clarify exactly what he meant.
Warning today from President Trump on the threat posed by North Korea to U.S. troops in the region and beyond.
Well, nobody's safe. I mean, who's safe? The guy's got nuclear weapons. We're probably not safe over here. If he gets the long-range missiles, we're not safe either.
But despite his ominous tone, the president said he's open to the idea of meeting with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. He tells Bloomberg that under what he called the right circumstances, quote, I would be honored to do it.
This is somebody who has starved his own people, somebody that has threatened to destroy the United States. Just last week, he put out a video showing the Capitol getting destroyed by North Korean fighters. How could he be honored to meet with Kim Jong-un?
The president understands the threat that North Korea poses, and he will do whatever is necessary under the right circumstances to protect our country from the threat that they pose.
But how could that be an honor?
I mean, Jonathan, I guess because he's still the head of state, so it is sort of there's a diplomatic piece to this.
But Sean Spicer also made it clear the conditions are nowhere near right for a meeting anytime soon. Not only has Kim recently released those videos showing the destruction of the Capitol and U.S. cities, there have been missile tests, preparations for a possible nuclear test, and now the USS Carl Vinson Strike Group is in the region and on high alert. To guard against the North Korean threat, the president is also reaching out and offering kind words to another controversial Asian strongman, Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte, a man human rights groups say has committed crimes against humanity for an anti-drug campaign blamed for 7,000 murders. He has a very high approval rating in the Philippines, Trump told Bloomberg. And after what the White House called a very friendly call, the president invited Duterte to the White House.
To France, and both rivals in the presidential race have traded blows in the final week of campaigning. On Sunday, voters will choose between far-right candidate Marine Le Pen and centrist Emmanuel Macron.
The second round of French elections has been the graveyard of far-right dreams of power. Used to facing a united front of all her rivals, Marine Le Pen is now calling on voters to unite against someone else, her liberal opponent, Emmanuel Macron. At a rally today, she attacked Mr. Macron as a backdoor socialist, soft on terror, a friend of high finance, and too easily irritated to be head of state. By the River Seine today, Emmanuel Macron honoured a Moroccan man killed by far-right supporters 2 decades ago. A reminder of the controversial history that dogs the Front National. But support for the far right is growing here, and on a visit to France's rural heartland over the weekend, he told us that this election was the last call for France's membership of the EU.
You have almost half of this country angry with the European idea, so we have to reform this area. We need a new European Union in situation to protect our people and to regulate our globalization.
France's main unions held separate rallies today, their members divided over the left-wing choice in this election.
True Sports is next. Details after the break.
True Sports.
Welcome to True Sports. To cricket, the City Pharmacy PNG Lewis bounced back with a comfortable 78-run victory over Japan in Day 3 of the ICC Women's World T20 East Asia Pacific qualifier, all thanks to a brilliant hit from Tanya Ruma.
After they lost to Samoa, PNG lined up against Japan in another crucial encounter in the tournament. By the end of the allotted 20 overs, the City Pharmacy PNG Lewis recorded their highest score of the tournament with 3 for 138. Tanya Ruma was the star on the bat for the Lewis, smashing 69 runs of just 61 balls, including 5 boundaries, 2 massive sixes, and batting until the 19th over of the innings. Japan, however, tried to make a comeback but was restricted to 7 for 60 of their allotted 20 overs. Vikiara was superb with her bowling, securing her career best of 3 for 9 of her 4 overs. Tanya Ruma was awarded the Player of the Match award for her outstanding performance. The City Pharmacy PNG Lewis play Vanuatu next in their round 4 fixtures, while Samoa will take on host Japan. Currently, Samoa is leading the points table on 6 points, while the City Pharmacy PNG Lewis are in second position on 4 points. Shane Saroya, National MTV Sports.
While rugby union seems to win the hearts of many in Hong Kong, it is only recent that the country has introduced and encouraged rugby league competitions in Hong Kong. A recent competition organized for amateur rugby league players saw the PNG Diamond Chiefs take part for the first time, resulting in their first win, taking home the Hong Kong Rugby League Cup.
Team coach Justin Joseph took 15 amateur rugby league players to Hong Kong late last month. The players all came together from different backgrounds of professionalism. It all started after playing touch footy every weekend at Gordon's. A group of rugby league enthusiasts showed an interest to participate in Season 3 of the Hong Kong Rugby League Nines competition. The 15-man squad was accompanied by team coach, team manager and a physio to Hong Kong.
They put out an ad on Facebook asking for expressions of interest for clubs that are interested to take part, and we've stumbled across that. So one of the criteria was all the teams must not have professional players, so everyone has to be amateurs, so everyone had to be on the same level. So we expressed our interest there, and fortunately we got invited to take part.
While in Hong Kong, the team played against 5 other teams that included teams from Thailand, Hong Kong and a Scottish team. From the 5 contending teams, PNG found itself playing an outsider, Thailand, in the grand final match before PNG won the game to take home the Hong Kong Cup. Travelling to Hong Kong for the first time was very overwhelming for the team, but we're very confident to take on host Hong Kong and others in the tournament.
The place actually was new for all of us. None of us actually has ever been to Hong Kong. A new environment, a new place, and it was a very good experience for everyone.
Making their first rugby league debut in Hong Kong, the team is now looking forward to participating in other international matches before they head back to defending their title in Hong Kong.
After we won the tournament, we were encouraged to go back and defend our title next year in Hong Kong. So we've all agreed that we'll be going back and defending our title.
Going to Hong Kong was something that we put out to help, as a goal, something to work towards, and we didn't expect to go that far. There are lots of things that we needed to work on as a group, but we pulled ourselves together. We ended up going, and we took part in the tournament, and we ended up winning the tournament.
Godwin Eki, National MTV Sports.
True Guy Sports continues after the break. Don't go away.
True Guy Sports.
Welcome back to True Guy Sports. Besta PNG United Football Club received a major boost to their 2017 National Soccer League season, with the International Food Corporation giving the club 100,000 kina. PNGFA General Secretary Demirit Mileng said the PNGFA Besta Development Program has contributed a lot to soccer in PNG. The Besta sponsorship has developed a lot of boys who are now at their peak playing overseas and also for the national team. The PNG Kumuls is the only team that has more players from the Queensland Interest Super Cup competition in the team for the Pacific Test. Almost every player named in the Fiji, Tonga, Samoa, England and Cook Islands teams are NRL based. As for PNG, a total of 14 players will use their experience from the second strongest competition in Australia to take on the Cook Islands.
Star growth Amin has been put in to replace David Mead in the fullback position. Amin made his debut for the Kumuls on the wings last year when they beat the Fiji Batis. He comes into the team with more experience playing in the fullback position for the SPPNG Hunters. The backline will see Justin Olam, Nene McDonald, Thompson Tete and Adex Wera playing their custom positions. Ase and Watson Boas were outstanding in the Kumuls win last year over the Fiji Batis. Both brothers controlled the game all throughout the 80 minutes. The Boas brothers have also had a good start with the SPPNG Hunters this season. Henry Wan has picked up form this year and has been damaging in the forward pack. His long carries and being able to break the opposition's defense will be a bonus for the Kumuls this weekend. Luke Page from the Burleigh Bears will also add depth to the team when he starts in the front row. The experience of Reece Martin and Rod Griffin from the Bulldogs will help boost the team. Wartovo Puara Jr. will guide the forward pack when he takes his place in the hooker position. He will also be helped out by the East Tigers hooker Tommy Butterfield, who comes off the bench. Hunters vice-captain and hard runner Wellington Albert, who has had a great start to the ISC season, comes off the bench while brother Stanton Albert starts in the lock forward position. Both brothers are capable of line breaks and add height and size to the forward pack. Willie Minoga and Nixon Put will also be destructive when coming off the bench. Richard Pandya, who plays for the Ipswich Jets on the wing or centre, is fast in attack and strong in defence. He will be a threat to the opposition's right side when given the opportunity to play. Though the team is without David Mead, Kato Tio and Kat Baptist, the Kumuls team has a great mix of experience which can see them overcome the Cook Islands. The match will be shown live on Saturday, the 6th of May at 3:15 p.m. on your number one station, MTV. Elijah Levitt, National MTV Sports.
Andrew Fifita has been called up to join the Australian Kangaroos in their Anzac clash against the New Zealand Kiwis. Fifita says he has been waiting for the call to join the team and has finally got a chance after almost 7 months. He wasn't given the opportunity to represent Australia because of off-field behaviour issues. The Kangaroos will play the Kiwis this Friday. And that ends Shukai Sports. The weather details after the break.
Shukai Sports. True Kai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Your weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. Most in the southern region, mostly fine in Port Moresby, Daru, Kerema and Alotau, and a shower or two, then fine in Popondetta. In the Momase region, some showers tonight, then becoming fine in Lae. Showers and thunderstorms tonight, then cloudy in Madang, Wewak and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, showers and thunderstorms tonight, then cloudy in Lorengau, cloudy with a shower or two in Kavieng, showers and possible thunderstorms, then cloudy tonight in Kokopo and Rabaul, fine and cloudy in Kimbe and mostly fine in Buka. And in the Highlands region, mostly fine, then morning fog developing in all centres. Forecast for small ships for tonight and tomorrow. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island, to Kerema to Hood Point, to Yule Island to Samara Island, with waters of Madang to Bogia, to Wewak to Aitape, to Vanimo to northern PNG Indonesian border with waters of Manus and its western group of islands, and with waters of New Ireland to east and west New Britain and Bougainville, seas of 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands with waters of Samara Island to Cape Vogel, to Finschhafen, and with waters of Finschhafen through Vitia Strait, Dampier Strait including Siasi Islands to Long Island, seas of 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Ocean forecast for PNG areas in the Coral Sea. Sea slide with southeast winds at 10 to 15 knots. In the Solomon Sea, sea slide to patches moderate with southeast winds at 10 to 20 knots. In the Bismarck Sea, seas light with northwest to southwest winds at 10 to 15 knots, and in the Pacific Ocean, seas light with southwest to westerly winds at 10 to 15 knots.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. With doing with Dulux.
Now, before we go, 6 hamlets of the Sasani Rice Clan in the Markham Valley are expecting the harvest of 200 tons of rice. The partnership is the biggest in the country between smallholder farmers Chingwam Rice Growers Cooperative and Trukai Rice Limited. The rice will be blended into budget rice brand Roots Rice.
To fill this packet of rice, we're in the Markham Valley, spacious and bountiful. But these farmers say the income from other cash crops isn't stable. In comes rice. Today, these farmers from the Markham Valley are harvesting the fruits of their labor, grains of what they and Trukai Rice had sown. That's 40 hectares of the T3 rice variety.
Now I'm 40 hectares or so. Me prepare him 80 hectares, but 40 hectares I'm planning.
Rice company Trukai, who supports this initiative, says it's a morale boost for farmers, investing already 38 million kina into this and other similar projects around the country.
At the moment it's going to be rain-fed because we need to further establish what we are capable of doing here. But we've made the commitment and the investment to spend tens of millions of kina on this.
The project will increase its planting area to over 500 hectares. This will provide more rice for an exclusively PNG-grown rice. Harry Agimbari, National MTV News, Leh.
And to another rice story, the sitting MPs for Karakohiri and Kerema Open are questioning the government on the Gabadi 7 billion kina rice project in the Central Province. Portion of the land where the rice project was intended is now central in the controversial Manu Manu land deal. The people of Kerema were expecting spin-off benefits from the project located in the Karakohiri electorate. Adelaide Sirix Kari has more.
The 7 billion kina Gabadi rice project is supposed to be in its first stages, but at the moment there is nothing to show for the much-hyped multi-billion kina project. Now, the member for Kairiku and Kerema are questioning the Department of Agriculture on what has become of it.
The national government agreement has been executed by the Governor General, and to date not a single activity is going on. And as a result, the people of Karakohiri and Kerema district are not realizing the benefits of the rice development project.
The sitting member for Kerema says he is questioning the department and Ministry of Agriculture because Kerema was expected to benefit from spin-off benefits of the multi-billion kina project.
For me, people in Kerema district think that I've been misleading them because I've been telling them that the impact of the Central Commercial Rice Project on Kerema district will be very, very significant. This is basically purely a private commercial investment decision. It has no government funding involved in this. So we're just wondering why. When it comes to...
Meanwhile, Peter Iso Aimo says while the people of his electorate welcome development like a military base, they would prefer agriculture projects.
Local people used to, have those lands freed up for agriculture purposes and not military because they have their own reasons to say that.
He said the people were well aware of the rice project and did not want a repeat from the expected sugar plantation in the 90s that was later moved to Madang.
The Rigo sugar at some stage, some 20 years ago, was to be grown in Launa Kalana, and got stolen by successive governments and then taken away to Ramu in Madang province. So, our people are...
Both sitting members are demanding an answer from the Department of Agriculture and the ministry headed by Tommy Tomskol.
Province were all present at the government house signing, and to have taken this long on behalf of our people, we are pretty disappointed and concerned at the manner in which projects of such magnitude should be held to ransom or unnecessarily delayed.
It is understood that the multi-billion kina project has already been approved from the government, the Governor-General and Attorney-General. Isoaimos says there should be no excuse why there is no groundwork happening.
We are now calling on the department responsible, the Department of Agriculture and Livestock, to come clear and tell us what the actual problem is. If the Minister for Agriculture is also around, we also want him and the Minister for Attorney General to give clearance, who's already.
Adelaide Xerox Kari National, MTV News.
Now recapping our main stories for tonight. Opposition disrupts hospital opening, slow start to campaign period, and Lay City speaks on quiet campaign mood. And that has been the news, sports and weather for tonight. On behalf of the entire MTV News team, I'm Helen Seah. Pleasant viewing. Good night.